to see the woman. Drayden had not meant to look up at all. He had been looking down to pick up the coins he had lost through a hole in his threadbare trousers. Their seat torn by the lurching carriage ride from the docks into Ambergris, the carriage drawn by a horse bound for the glue factory, perhaps taken to the slaughter yards that very day, the day before the festival of the freshwater squid, as the carriage driver took pains to inform him, perhaps hoping Drayden would require his further services. But it was all Drayden could do to stay seated as they made their way to a hostel, deposited his baggage in a room, and returned once more to the merchant districts, to catch a bit of local color, a bite to eat, where he and the carriage driver parted company. The driver's mangy beast had left its stale smell on Drayden, but it was a necessary beast none the less, for he could never have afforded a mechanized horse, a vehicle of smoke and oil, not when he would soon be down to his last coins and in desperate need of a job, the job he had come to Ambergris to find for his former teacher at the Morrow Religious Institute, a certain Cadimon signal, preached from Ambergris's religious quarter, and surely, what with the festivities, there would be work. But when Drayden picked up his coins, he regained his feet rather too jauntily, spun and rattled by a ragtag gang of jackanapes who ran past him, and his gaze had come up on the gray, rain-threatening sky and swung through to the window he now watched with such intensity. The woman had long, delicate fingers that typed to their own peculiar rhythms, so that she might as well have been playing Voss Bender's Fifth, diving to the desperate lows and soaring to the magnificent highs that Voss Bender claimed as his territory. When her face became, for the moment, revealed to Drayden through the glare of glass, a slight forward motion to advance the tape, perhaps, he could see that her features, a match for her hands, were reserved, streamlined, artful. Nothing in her spoke of the rough, rude world surrounding Drayden, nor of the great unmapped southern jungles from which he had just returned, where the black panther and the blacker mamba waited with such malign intent, where he had been so consumed by fever and by doubt and by lack of converts to his religion that he had come back into the charted territory of laws and governments where, sweet joy, there existed women like the creature in the window above him. Watching her, his blood simmering within him, Drayden wondered if he was dreaming her, she a haloed, burning vision of salvation, soon to disappear mirage-like, so that he might once more be cocooned within his fever, in the jungle, in the darkness. But it was not a dream, and, of a sudden, Drayden broke from his reverie, knowing she might see him, so vulnerable, or that passers-by might guess at his intent and reveal it to her before he was ready, for the real world surrounded him, from the stink of vegetables in the drains to the sweet of half-gnawed ham-hocks in the trash, the clip-clop stomp of horse and the rattled honk of motored vehicles, the rustle whisper of mushroom dwellers disturbed from daily slumber, and, from somewhere hidden, the sound of a baroque and lilting music, crackly as if played on a phonograph. People knocked into him, allowed him no space to move, merchants and jugglers and knife salesmen and sidewalk barbers and tourists and prostitutes and sailors on leave from their ships, even the odd, pale-faced young tough, smiling a gangrenous smile. Drayden realized he must act, and yet he was too shy to approach her, to fling open the door to Hoagboten and Sons, dash up the 3 flights of stairs, and, unannounced, and perhaps unwanted, and unwashed, come before her dusty and smitten, a 12 o'clock shadow upon his chin. Obvious that he had come from the great beyond, for he still stank of the jungle rot and jungle excess. No, he must not thrust himself upon her. But what then to do? Drayden's thoughts tumbled one over the other like distraught clowns, and he was close to panic, close to wringing his hands in the way his mother had disapproved of, but that indicated nothing unusual in a missionary, when a thought came to him and left him speechless at his own ingenuity. A bauble, of course. A present, a trifle at his...